the lead sticking exercise, level 1 practice. For the first part of this video, I'm going to show you how to practice this exercise in a level 1 setting. After that, in the second half of the video, I'm going to talk about the exercise, explain lead sticking, and explain to you what this looks like and other ways you will see it and how to understand it, hopefully. So it will be more of a music theory lesson at the back end of this video. But to get you playing, we'll do the playing part first. To play this exercise at a level 1, I recommend starting at 50 beats per minute and working up towards 100 beats per minute, moving up in increments of 5 in the same way that we practiced the sticking exercise in level 1. All wrist motions, all wrist strokes for this exercise when you're playing. And what I'd like you to do is play each line for 30 seconds and then go on to the next line for 30 seconds. Next line for 30 seconds, next line for 30 seconds, next line for 30 seconds. Continuous like that. Don't do it the way I did it in the demo video. That's for level 2. That's going to take you 2.5 minutes to play the exercise. If you're right-handed, start with the right hand and play the right hand stickings. If you're left-handed, start with the left hand and use the left hand stickings over here. If you want to develop your skills in both hands, then play the exercise right-handed for 2.5 minutes, followed by playing it with the left hand for 2.5 minutes, and then you'll have a 5-minute exercise. Let me explain each line to you so you understand what you're playing. The first line is just 16th notes. You already know how to do that from the other exercises. Here's 50. 1 E and 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 all wrist strokes. That's how you do that line. Super easy for you. 30 seconds. In the next line, we're going to drop the last note of the 4/16ths. We're dropping the last 16th notes. So we're playing 1 E and then resting. And we're also dropping the stick that plays it. So this is going to go like this. 1 E and, 1 E and, 1 E and. Remember, we're dropping the last part of the 4/16 notes. 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and If you want to use the sticks, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right. 30 seconds. In line C, we're going to move the rest in 1. So it'll fall on the 3rd 16th of the beat. So we have 1 E, 1 E, 1 E, 1 E, 1 E. The end is a rest. In keeping with the order of things here, when we put the rest there, we're going to drop the stick that played it. So that right's going to disappear, which means the next note's going to fall on the left hand. This one might feel awkward for you. Take your time, work this out, get comfortable with this sticking in line C. Here it is at 50. 1 E, 1 E, 1 E, 1 E. Right, left, left, 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 right, left, left. 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 1 E and 1. Line D, we're going to move the rest over to the second note of the group of 4 and put a 16th note rest there. And again, when we put that rest there, we're going to take away the stick that played it, which was a left stick. So now we have 1 and 2 and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and right, right, left, right. Here it is at 50. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 and 1 and 2 and right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left, right. And finally, we're going to put the rest on the first note of the group of 4, which means we start with the rest and we lose the stick that played it. We erase that right and we're going to come in on E with a left stick. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and here it is at 50. 1 E and 2 E and 1 E and 2 E and left, 30 seconds of each line, and then try it left-handed. Or if you were left-handed and just played it left-handed, switch to right-handed and try it with your weak hand. That will enable you to learn the exercise, put the sticking patterns into your muscle memory, and then bump the speed up and eventually play this exercise at level 2 with comfort and ease, which is where you'll begin to see the effects of the exercise on your overall playing. Stick around if you need to. I'm going to explain in more detail the exercise. If you understood everything I just explained, then get moving on this. 5 beat increments starting at 50. Wrist strokes, go to 55, 60, 65, 70, 75, 80, and keep pushing yourself up the metronome speeds with wrist strokes until it becomes difficult in the wrist strokes, at which point you'll want to take a look at the level 2 video. Good luck. Well, if you stuck around for the second half of this video, I'm guessing you may be a little confused, you may be lost, you may not have understood some things, or you just may be curious to see what I have to say. Either way, I'm going to finish this video by explaining in more depth musically what's going on in this exercise and talk a little bit about what lead sticking is. Again, if you're really comfortable with this, and a lot of drummers are, if you played in drum lines, you might be comfortable with this style of playing, and even if you're just a home-taught, self-taught drummer, you might have figured this out on your own. Most people do, in which case feel free to go on to the next videos. However, here's what's going on with this exercise. There are 2 systems of sticking generally used in drumming: the alternate sticking system and the lead sticking system. This exercise develops the lead sticking style of playing. Some will argue that you should also be able to play alternate, but what I say is if you play this exercise right-handed and left-handed, you'll be able to play alternate sticking easily because you'll have trained your hands equally and you'll be ambidextrous, and alternate will not be a problem for you. That's why I recommend this exercise. That's why I have it in my list. The exercise is going to develop your strong hand as the lead hand in playing. What does that mean? Well, in music, the strongest part of the beat is the downbeat. The first note in a beat is the strongest. And it only makes sense that you want to play the strongest part of the beat with your strongest hand. So if you're right-handed, you always play the number of a beat with your right hand. If you're left-handed, play the number with your left hand. When you're playing 16th notes that are quite fast, you need to use both hands, so naturally you have to figure out, oh, where am I going to put my strong hand and where am I going to put my weak hand? Well, if you start with your strong hand always, and always try to come out on the downbeat with your strong hand, what will naturally follow in the second part of the beat is a left hand. And then naturally the right's going to follow, and then the left. Right, left, right, left. That's the fastest way to play, essentially, when we're playing rhythmic patterns on drums that change. So because of that, the lead sticking kind of outlines its own rules. On one and end, you use your strong stick, in this case the right stick, and on E and which are the weaker notes in the beat, you use your weaker hand, which in this case is our left stick. And in keeping with that idea of getting our right hand always on one, we want to maintain those sticks in those slots. So whenever you have a note on the number, it's a right. Whenever you have a note on the E, it's a left. Whenever you have a note on the and, it's a right. And whenever you have a note on the it's a left. If you follow that concept, you'll always come out right. On your strong hand, I should say. No pun intended there. If you're left-handed, you'll come out on your left. That's the concept of the lead sticking exercise, and it's going to allow you to play effortlessly with flow, and you'll be very smooth in your playing. It's going to help you with so much of what you do on the drum set and not on the drum set. A couple other things you should understand about this exercise. This rhythm here is 1 E end with a rest. It's most common to see it written this way, as 2/16 with an eighth note. In drumming, these two rhythms are synonymous. They sound the same. 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 1 E and a, 1 E and a. They look different, but they sound the same. On other instruments, be careful, on other instruments people will argue, and they are correct to argue, on instruments that can sustain sound, they are actually different. Da da da, da da da, da da da, da da da. That would be a longer sound. Drums don't do that. For now, we're just looking at a short sound on a drum pad, and because of that, most commonly, I think you're going to see this rhythm written like this. Looks different, sounds the same. Letter C is the same way. We're going to put the rest on the third note in the sequence of 4 notes, but most commonly you're going to see it written like this. A 16th, there's the 2 flags, followed by an 8th, followed by a 16th with 2 flags. That's the common way of writing it. Same as these two are the same, these two are the same. And finally, this one with the rest on the second note is most commonly written like this, with an 8th note and 2 16ths. 1 and 2 and 1 and so you almost have to in your mind recognize that this rest is sitting in that space. It's sitting in that space, and it's sitting up here in this space after the third note. The last line has no choice but to be written the way it is. A 16th rest followed by 3 16th notes barred like that. Hopefully that helps you understand what you're looking at. And most times when this exercise is written out, we would write out 4 sets of each. So you would see 4 beats of these. Then you would see 4 beats of these, 4 beats of these, 4 beats of these, 4 beats of these. I abbreviated it so that you can see it on my whiteboard on your small screen at home. If I had more room, I would write it all out. So you kind of have to imagine that in your head. I would also write the stickings under it all the way through it. Again, when you're practicing this exercise to begin, when you're learning it, level 1, you're getting in shape, you're warming up, and in this case you're learning perhaps something new that you haven't played, something that feels different to you. It's very important that you go slow and that you play each line for 30 seconds or more, because the goal is to develop comfort with the sticking pattern. So just to give you an example, here is the letter B sticking. Right, left, right, right, left, right, right, left. That's a moderately slow tempo, I guess I would say. I could play it faster. And play faster. I could probably play it as fast as I've played any of the exercise we've learned up to this point. Another thing that I can show you, and this will be the last thing I talk about, is a little device I use sometimes to help younger students who struggle with this exercise to actually play the exercise. If you're having a hard time with the rests, consider playing a fake stick. I'm going to do this in slow motion. By that I mean when I get to this rest, I'm going to fake hit the drum with my left stick, the stick that got taken out. So here it is, very slow. Watch. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left, right. You see that fake stick? What that does is that keeps the motion of the sticks going. Right, left, right, left, right, left, right, left. And it puts that rest in there while maintaining that motion and helps you to stay on. Because what a lot of you will want to do is after this rest, you'll want to repeat to the left hand. You'll want to do this. Right, left, right, left, right, left. Right. Well, that's the alternate sticking system. We're not working on that right now. We're working on the lead sticking. And there's a whole lot of reasons why we prefer lead as opposed to alternate, and that's for another lesson. For now, though, consider all those things I just talked about. I hope that helps. I hope you understand. Start very slow, 30 seconds per line. Get comfortable with it. And as you get more comfortable, bump that speed up as high as you can get it. And in level 2, we'll talk about using the exercise as an exercise in the maintenance level of practice.